Yo, what's going on, people? Raps on TV, back again, Tuesday, summer in London, here to talk all the big things in boxing. Definitely looking forward to this press conference that's about to take place in probably an hour and a half. So yeah, looking forward to it, but I'm here with the guy, Zane, long time since we've seen him, Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage. What's good, brother?
How you doing, Kojo? I'm all good, man. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Just trying to stay afloat, enjoying this warm weather, and really looking forward to be fair, really looking forward to this press conference. Yeah, we're gonna chop that up in a bit. But, yeah, man, it's good to see you. I know you've been busy. You see, watching. Have you been getting that payday?
Yeah, Canelo. You know what I mean? Like he's the top dog at the top at the moment. I'm just enjoying it. You know? You get what I'm saying? I'm a Canelo fan. You know, so it's good to see Canelo doing well for himself and finally getting like some recognition he deserves. You know, from a lot of people.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Man. But this week, I'm looking forward to the exciting fights, man. Run me through the fights, bro.
Yeah, man. So it's a weird one because last weekend was busy, but I didn't feel like the fights were entertaining. You know, we'll get into that. But yeah, this week really we're going to talk about obviously the Ritson, his loss to Ponce over the weekend. Shakur Stevenson put on a good win on the weekend as well. Then we're going to be talking about this weekend's fight, July Charlo versus Montiel, Showtime, Juneteenth. WBC will be making a special belt commemorating that, so it's good to see. And then I was going to say we've got Lopez versus Kambosos. Literally in the last 15 minutes, Mike Coppinger has reported that fight has now been cancelled or postponed due to Lopez testing positive for COVID-19. So if that fight's not taking place this weekend, it's going to be interesting. But then also this week, yesterday, namely, we saw Matchroom launch their new deal with the Zone and talk about their fight card, or sorry, fight camp that will be taking place in the summer. So yeah, looking forward to chopping it up this week. There's definitely things to talk about. I think let's get the bad news out of the way. Let's start with Ritson, his loss to Ponce. What's your thoughts on that fight, bro?
I'll be honest with you, like going in there, like Ponce was a dangerous fighter for Ritson, and you know Ritson, he hasn't been performing as well as he recently is. So, you know, I had a feeling there might have been an upset going into the fight, you know. But him being a UK fighter, you know, we're always backing the Brits. But yeah, no, it didn't surprise me because, you know, Ritson, sometimes he just looks a bit one-dimensional in there, you know. But I was a bit shocked a little bit, you know, a bit surprised. But the first round, I think he knocked him down in the first round, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was crazy, man. It was just, you can never write them off nowadays as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what was your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, no, similar to you, bro. I think Ritson, I felt like, and I think it's that British fan thing, I felt there was a bit of hype around him and it was a bit unnecessary. Whilst, he might have won a couple of reasonable wins, I didn't think he was an outstanding fighter. And I did say last week, you know, it reminded me that, I named this fight specifically. There was something about that fight that reminded me of like Nathan Cleverly when he took on Sergei Kovalev. And Kovalev was a bit of an unknown. Obviously, everyone was raving about Cleverly, home fighter, and then you know you just start fighting in front of your passionate fans. There's an assumption that you're just going to win, and I was saying I feel like there's similarities to that. And obviously, when the fight played out, I wasn't massively surprised. Like you, I think because I saw the first round knockdown so early, it was only going in one direction, really, isn't it? You know, even though the stoppage was actually later on in the fight, and we'll get onto his performance in a bit. But it was only going in one direction. It's going to be interesting for him. I think he's gone up a weight and he's not carrying the power because he's got a nickname, Geordie Golovkin. Like on what? Where? Like how? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, but what did you think about the fact that his corner threw in the towel and the referee threw the towel back?
I mean, and you've seen the joke. I was like, the refs got something going on here. I think he's got money on the points loss or whatever. But I will say it's, we've now seen the video where he's gone back in and explained himself, but I just think it's a dangerous game to play, because whilst yes, it was a body shot, if the corner throw in the towel, you have to respect that decision. It doesn't really matter what you think or you see. If the corner is seeing something, like you've got to, do you know what I mean? And it's not like it's kind of frowned upon, if we're being honest. Like your corner throwing in the towel for you. So for them to make that decision, like they've seen something that's not justified. So I was a bit surprised. I found it was a bit funny because he literally just picked it up and dashed it. Like he didn't even see it at first, and then he dashed it away. So I thought that was funny, but it could have been a very serious situation. What did you think?
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like, once his corner threw in the towel, that was it. That was enough to be done, The referee, I don't know why. I've never seen that before. Threw the towel back out, He could have took a lot more punishment, like he mentioned as well. So, it was a bit of a difficult one to say because I've never seen that happen before. I thought the fight was over, And to be fair, like, I knew he wasn't going to win the fight, so he should have just let it be. But I don't know what was going through the referee's mind at the time,
Well, but that's a good point that you make there, because he wasn't going to win at that stage. So you're just saying to yourself, like
just live to fight for another day,
They threw the towel in. You know what I mean? It's not even because in some occasions we see referees, when a fight is taking quite a heavy punishment, the fighter goes, the referee goes to the fighter in his corner during in between the rounds and says, "Look, I want to see something. If you don't show me something, I'm going to stop it." And Ritson wasn't really showing anything anyway. So it wasn't like they threw the towel in, but it's like they're just a massive trade-off. Yeah, so I thought it was good for Ponce. Really interesting, though, that Frank Warren was able to get his own back on Eddie Hearn. I want to ask you something, right? Because people that are in the chat or in the comments, obviously, please let us know. But I do find it really, really weird that Warren or Hearn won't go to each other's shows especially when they're fighters across on a cross promotional deal. So if you look at he went over to fight Denzel Bentley. Ponce's now come over to Matchroom, and it's like they don't even turn up to the venue. I find that weird. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, now you mentioned it. It does seem a bit weird, Only thing that comes to mind for me is maybe they don't want to. I don't know. They don't want to have some rivalry there, but I'm not too sure. It could be maybe to do with politics.
Yeah.
It is a bit strange though that you mentioned that now.
Because the way I even see it, and maybe people might be like, "Nah, Koji, you're talking rubbish." But for me, I think at that level, if Warren says to her, "No, my fight is on your card. I want to come to the fight," I don't think it's gonna put him in the gods. He's still gonna have good seats. Like the hospitality is still. So I'm just like, I find it really strange, but they both don't do it. But and I know you might say, but like because in the US it happens. Obviously, when Fury fought Wilder, you saw that there. Even when Fury fought Wilder the first time, you saw Frank Warren come to the show. The same if a PBC fighter is on the Matchroom DAZN card, you've seen it. You saw Sam Watson, Tom Brown when Ruiz beat Joshua in New York. That was a show. So it's just like with those two, the beef is really personal. One day I'm gonna have to try and dig into what causes that. But but as we say, we'll move on. So yeah, definitely, I want to also talk about Shakur Stevenson. So he fought this weekend, coming in for a bit of stick. I think it's fair to say, criticism about his performance.
Yeah.
What do you think of his performance, bro?
I think it was a comfortable win, but he could have pushed for a knockout, I reckon, definitely in the fourth round when he dropped the guy, I can't remember his name at the top of my head, but he dropped him in the fourth round, and he could have pushed for the knockout because he was winning the rounds quite easily, He wasn't really troubled in there, but he looked to me as if he wanted to play it safe,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he did send out a tweet after the fight saying apologies about the performance. I think there could have been a bit more exciting from Shakur Stevenson if he really wanted to, be honest with you. But what did you feel, bro?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe but maybe it's because I think he's a good fighter, so maybe I'm looking at it through that and those kind of rose-tinted lenses. I thought it was a good technical performance. And every time I see him fight, I'll be honest, like I'm impressed just because of like the fundamentals, like his movement, his technique when he throws the punches, his type of combinations that he throws. I liked it. I do get the whole thing about being able to finish him, but I would say, look, Nekatila, his reputation coming into this was he was essentially a bit of a wilder. He had a big right hand, and I think Shakur Stevens fought mature in the sense of he stayed away from that. You know what I mean? So and he dominated the round. So yeah, it's interesting because I feel like with this boring tag, I think he will have to do something about it soon because I think they're going to use it as an excuse to not get in the fights because you see it with Andrade. Andrade can't get a fight at the moment, and you could argue there was that with Andre Ward. I think when Mayweather was labeled boring, he was already quite flamboyant. He was already quite a character, so people were ready to pay for him. I think for Shakur Stevenson, probably for the next sort of like maybe 2 or 3 fights, he's gonna have to put on a clinic and stop the fight. So yeah, let's see what happens there.
You mentioned about the technical points. You're right though. It's all about winning, isn't it? Like at the end of the day, the least amount of punishment. You know what I mean? The better for the fighter as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, bro, that was interesting. So yeah, obviously on Monday we saw, and I'm going to try and show a couple of the cards, but probably won't get to all of them. We saw Matchroom announce their fight camp. I think it's fair to say it's a reasonably big card. We've got three main cards headlined by Ben versus Granado. What fight? McCarthy versus Billam Smith. That would be a good fight in the cruiserweight division. Also see Galahad versus Dickens, which will see Fabio Wardley on that card as well. And I think Floyer Marku will be on that card. Then we also will be ending the fight camp when we see Buatsi taking on Blotnitz, which I think is a good step up for him and a fight in the right direction. What's your thoughts on the fight camp?
Oh, you know what? I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, there's a lot of fighters fighting under there. I just feel that this DAZN deal has made it more exciting for both promotional companies, as in Top Rank and Matchroom, because they're doing their own things now, and it creates more sort of interest, in terms of who's fighting who and when the obviously events are taking place, But there's some good fights on there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to the Buatsi fight. I'm looking forward to him because he's a really exciting undefeated fighter as well, and I know he's got the potential to, go for a world championship soon. Also, we got Conor Benn there. They announced Conor Benn versus Granados. Obviously, Conor Benn is surprising a lot of people, with making a huge sort of turnaround in his career. So it's going to be interesting because he's another sort of, I wouldn't say a big step up, but a calculated step up as well against Granados, who's been in there with Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, all the top welterweights, Who else is fighting? There was
Jazza Dickens takes on Kid Galahad for the
Galahad. That's a rematch, isn't it?
Yeah, so,
I want to see that as well because obviously it's a British sort of dust up. So some exciting fights. Also, we've got on the undercards the likes of Wardley, all these other upcoming fighters, the women's division. So there's some exciting matchups, but they're a bit far away for my liking. I wish they were like in the next couple of weeks, but we've got to wait until.
I think for me, bro, I have to say, I hear what you mean, but I think
you get what I'm saying.
It's going to come very, very quickly because I think for me, the way I see it is like after this weekend, you probably got. I mean, you might want to see Lomachenko. There are some good PBC cards. You got Erickson, Lupin. And then it goes a little bit quiet, but then I think once Wilder, and then we've got July 24th, Wilder Fury. It's like
it's not too far away, is it?
Not too far away at all, in my opinion. So I think we really got something to look forward to, and I think that's no better place. Actually, before we start on that, we'll talk about the other fight taking place this weekend. Charlo taking on Montiel. obviously a bit of an unknown fighter, Montiel, probably known by most for his loss against Jaime Munguia. But this is a Mexican fighter. I would recommend to people that are going to watch, that probably won't watch the fight actually, but I would recommend watching the behind the scenes or the all access, Showtime's all access for Charlo and Montiel. I think it's good. It's always good to see some of that behind the scenes boxing, camp life, personalities, families, upbringings, environments. The other one that is also good is Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios. But I'll focus on the Jamal Charlo one. Yeah, for me, I think this is going to be a good fight. I'm not necessarily worried for Jamal Charlo. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes there's fighters that are unknown. They come in with a bit of a reputation of being a power puncher. Whilst Montiel is that, I think Charlo is equally dangerous. I think he is hungry. And in a weird way, he needs to deliver now because, too, you know, the question will be what's happening with his career. You know, where's he? He's not facing the top guys, giving us the hugely competitive fights. So yeah, I'm not worried for him. I see him coming through this unscathed, but should be interesting. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like Montiel, don't get me wrong, he's a tough dude. You know, he's a Mexican warrior. You know, he beat Kirkland in his last fight in 1 round. But we all know Kirkland was a bit over the hill, you know. Now that he's not with Ann Wolf, I think the Canelo fight, he took a hell of a lot of punishment. And Kirkland was there for the taking. You saw his punch resistance had gone. And within the first minute of that fight, it was only going to go one way, to be fair. Montiel, not to take
sorry, just to say, with the Montiel, you got a good point, because Montiel knocked him down 3 times as well. So, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying about Montiel. Like, looking through his resume, they've only fought one sort of common opponent, which was Hugo Santino Jr. And Charlo was able to knock him out in 3 rounds. And obviously Montiel had a draw with him. So I can't see this being any competitive for Charlo because, you know, he only knows how to fight one way, Montiel. And Charlo being a more athletic fighter, it's going to have problems for Montiel, you know.
And I think with and that's a good point that you made in terms of the styles. I think Charlo is coming off a good win against Deverenchenko. I thought he put on a much more convincing win than a lot of the other guys. And I think now it's a case of, as long as he's not looking at Montiel like, who is this opponent? You know, I watched the press conference and he even sees him. Charlo feels fighting Montiel was even a disrespect to himself, to his own ability. So as long as he doesn't take that and get a bit relaxed in terms of training and things, then like you, I just can't see it being hugely competitive. Whilst the first few rounds will be tentative, you know, again, he's a big puncher. You always have to be cautious. I think once Charlo finds his rhythm, I think that, you know, he'll probably dominate this fight and get a stoppage.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Kojo. I just feel, Charlo, it's going to be a matter of time before the pressure gets too much from Montiel. I just see Charlo being able to stop him. But
absolutely,
I would be surprised if Montiel was to pull an upset. You know, that would be very surprising for me. But, definitely Charlo. I agree with you, bro.
Absolutely. So, bro, listen, before we got to start on this, so in about an hour's time, so those that are listening, I'm gonna try and do a live watch along for this press conference. Today, we see the return of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, ahead of their July 24th match. They go head to head. It's been a while since they've seen each other. Clearly, they last fought February 2020. Wilder lost. It's the first time he'll get to see the WBC belt that he owned. Bro, I'm going to be real. Obviously, Fury won that second fight, clearly. Whilst I am looking forward to this third fight, I'm not talking about the fight alone. I'm worried for Wilder, in this press conference, because I just think Fury, you know, you might as well say he's got the gift of the gab. He knows how to talk. Wilder has to be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? I think he's going to have to study to be able to catch Fury out today. It would be good if we can see that. I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. Each time we've seen these guys go back and forth, Fury's had the edge in terms of the verbals. is this going to be the most anticipated press conference this year?
What's going to be interesting, bro, is to see the mental aspect of these two fighters, you know, because boxing, as well as a physical game, is a mental game as well. But
Yeah.
this press conference is going to show us how mentally stable Deontay Wilder is coming back from that loss, because we know he's taken a lot of time out and it has affected him. We've all seen that. But, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see how Deontay Wilder's reaction is to Fury's gift of the gab, you know? Because Fury's going to give it. You already know how Fury's going to act. He's going to try and get into Wilder's head. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what the reaction will be from Deontay Wilder. Because we've never seen him be in this position before. And especially on a press conference, there's going to be more pressure on him. So I'm interested to see how he's going to react.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I'm interested to see. I think that would have been, you know, if that would have been a question, I wish even a few people that have been able to interview Wilder would have asked him, like, you know, what, in your opinion, how was the first face-to-face? Because I think I'm not saying they wouldn't have prepared for it, but it would be good for us to hear it. But I just feel Wilder, the way his personality is, the way his mindset is, I don't think he's got a limit, or he knows how to cap his sentences, right? I think he's got to go on, and one slip up, like Fury's going to jump on it. And ultimately, with all the accusations, Fury's got tons of ammunition already. So he's already got the ammunition to say, look, are you okay? Is your brain okay? You're like, I know I punched your head in, like, but is your brain functioning? Have you seen the doctor? Like, all of this chat that's just going to, and that's my thing. He's going to get so wound up. Like, boy, I hope, I think the security needs to be heavy. I just hope it's not like Chisora, David Hay when they're behind a ring fence. That's the metal fence. But I think this is going to be tense, bro.
Yeah. No, I can imagine it, man. Definitely, I do agree with you. Now that you mentioned that, it is difficult to keep a cap on Wilder and how he's not able to keep his calmness, you know? So definitely it's probably going to be entertaining for the fans, you know? But I just hope during fight night, I just hope we see a different version of Wilder. Whether that's going to happen or not, it is yet to be seen. But I just hope, because we have a better fight then, you know.
And that's it. I mean, and that's it, right? I feel like even with that fight, just touching on it, especially with, like, you know, let's say the promise afterwards is that both Fury and Joshua come out unscathed with victories. They should fight each other. So that's what we're all wanting to see. I just feel now that we know that's sort of like the path we're going to, I feel like an upset is going to come from somewhere. I don't know where. It might not even...
bro. Do you feel like Tyson Fury is underestimating Wilder?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think. I'll be honest. I don't think so. I think he does know how dangerous he is. I think he's gonna stay like he's, you know, he's a piece of shit and piss and blah blah blah. I think he still knows. And that kind of leads to my point of, if Fury wins, like, Fury's in a better position now because obviously he's the champion. I think even if, you know, he doesn't back up Wilder, I think we know that he can be evasive. And I think even for Wilder, I guess what I'm saying is, Wilder, win or lose, but I think he more than likely will lose. I think if he loses on points, that's still a reasonable look for him. Obviously, that's not his intention. But my point is, like, you've now gone the distance with somebody that stopped you, and you've accused him of a ton of stuff. So if you're outpointed, then arguably, you know, yeah, you're not redeemed yourself fully, but it makes it a bit better for you. I don't think. Do you think Fury's underestimating Wilder?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't really say, because, you know, Fury, he could be saying a lot of stuff, but then at the end of the day, in the background, we don't see how hard he's training. You know, he's locked off his phone as well, so, you know, he could be taking it seriously. You know,
and that's the thing about Fury. I think he talks like, now this whole fiasco, he's been exposed, him and Warren and Aram, to be fair, actually him and Aram more, because, like, he put out a tweet or an Instagram post saying, yeah, I'm switching off my phone for 8 weeks, blah blah blah, nothing, locking all the social medias off. Literally the next day, Tyson Fury's back online and he hasn't stopped.
That's what I'm saying, man. So you just don't know, because he's mentally, he's stable enough, but sometimes he does something like completely opposite, then it just makes you think, you know. So both of these guys got a big character, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's
So
gonna be really interesting, bro.
I mean, it's going to be a fantastic fight. If I do think it's going to be a fantastic fight. It's a bit of a shame because it's the type of fight that and Errol Spence Jr. Pacquiao. I'd love to
Oh,
be.
yeah,
You'd love to be out there, man.
definitely. Man.
Yes, big up Comrade Boxing. He's saying, who do you guys got in the fight, by the way? I guess he's talking Wilder Fury. I'm still going with Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard to see past him. I think Wilder can make the improvements. I think he can get some respect back. But I think, Fury's just kind of all wrong. He's got the movement. He's obviously at the height, the reach. He seems to be working on the power. He seems to be more aggressive. Yeah, it's not impossible, but I still would favor Fury. How about you, Zay?
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head there, bro. I feel that Fury has got more boxing ability, better technically, fundamentally as well. But Wilder, it would be surprising if he could land that punch. You know, I just feel that he's got a puncher's chance like the last fight, but in terms of boxing ability and fundamentals, it's all Fury. You know. So with that being said, I've got to favor Fury over Wilder, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
We'll
and
see. Well,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say something, bro. I think just because I still think we've got a bit of time, and us fight fans, we like to assess everything. We want to see the weigh-in, the press conference, like the fight week to make a decision. But on the pick, but I think Fury is my pick. But what I would say is, what would make this interesting? I'm gonna be honest. Is that I think is if Wilder just fights on the front foot, and I know everyone's saying what, but there's this whole narrative of the back foot. So I'm like, well, who says he couldn't be training to fight on the front foot, land early shots, knowing that he's got the power, and maybe the fight finishes early? Who knows? Let's see. Yes, big up Sam. Sam's in the chat. He's busy today, but he said Wilder can win. To be fair, and I got to give him his props. He has said he's picking Wilder early doors. So yeah, Sam is picking. He's picking Wilder to win. So he's doing a wild card. Fury's not looking in the best shape, man. Yeah, that's a good point, though. Actually, the shape of Fury, like I don't know, he doesn't.
But he's never been looking in the best shape at all in his life, you know. Like I don't know.
But I don't know if it's intentionally, or maybe it's those tight, like shorts that he's wearing. But I'm looking at him more, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, he's not in shape, isn't it?
But what you're saying is fair. He's never been in shape. I don't take that as a given to mean the fight is going to win. But when I look at him, I'm like, he seems to be. Maybe my point for me, I think he seems to balloon a bit more. Sometimes he looks quite slim. Then he seems to have chunked out a bit. So yeah, Comrade Boxing. He's saying whatever it will be, I think it will be decisive. Who are you going for, Comrade? We need a name. But yeah, let's hope it is decisive. Because don't forget, it's Vegas, and there's always some type of controversy. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's even more controversy, knowing that Joshua is waiting potentially for the winner. But he's saying, what a great heavyweight card so far, by the way. Yep, great point there. For those of you that don't know, we've got FA Jaguar taking on Sanchez. I mean, I've got to ask you about that. That is
that's a good fight, man. Because, like, basically, obviously, Eddie Reynoso trains Frank Sanchez, who's Canelo's trainer. So, you know, he's been looking great, like, with all his fighters, like the likes of Ryan Garcia, who else? Andy Ruiz Jr., Frank Sanchez. You know, they've all been winning. They've all been winning. So it's going to be interesting because Jaguar's another good up-and-coming heavyweight, you know, and he's got a lot of power. So I don't know, Frank Sanchez, he doesn't look great as well. I'm not going to lie. Even though he's been winning, he doesn't look great. You know, he can get a bit lazy, you know, and he lets his other opponents take advantage of that, you know. So there is a bit of vulnerability there. So.
That is a good point. I'll be honest though, and I like FA. We've had him on the show. I do slightly favour him, just slightly. I think it's going to be a great fight. What I like with FA Jaguar, and I'll be honest, is the fact he's working with K. Karoma. So K. Karoma is a coach that works with a lot of the American amateur boxing team. So like he's really all about his fundamentals. Like he was in the corner for Shakur Stevenson. Even guys like Jarrett Swift Heard, he's been in the corner with them. So like Duke Reagan, an up and coming fighter from the US. I think we're starting to see better fundamentals from a Jagba. But I think Frank Sanchez might be the favorite, even more if we're talking about there's not a knockout, it goes to points. He's probably maybe the person politically they would want long term to go on and have a career. But I just got to read Comrade's Boxing's comments there. He goes, I go with the dog Wilder. We'll probably regret this later. All right, no, that's good. That's good to hear, though. We want people's opinion. Yeah. Exactly. Boxing Banks in the building. Yes, sisters. He says, I think Wilder looks more focused this time. He could do this but by KO only. Yeah, I think that's probably the sort of like consensus is that would he be able to get a point win over Fury? I think that's probably the most difficult thing to do, right? Because nobody's done it. So trying to get a points win over Fury is probably going to be a challenge. But yeah, no, look, I think this fight's going to be exciting. I think the press conference is going to be exciting as well. Comrade Boxing is saying, yeah, will greatly depend on who can keep focus. Absolutely. I think that is a great point. And also we've got is Jared Anderson. He's on the undercard, right? Jared Anderson. He's another heavyweight as well. Yeah. Devastating power as well, you know. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a huge. I think you're right. I think the card in general is going to be huge. And then you've got obviously Robert Elenius rematching Kawanaki. He got that win over Kawanaki. So yeah, you know that's gonna be a big fight. Really can't wait for it. Yeah, so guys, listen, it was a quick show today. Zane, anything else on your mind that you want to? You know what? I look forward to all the boxing coming up, you know, and make sure you all follow Raps on TV, man. They're doing great stuff, man, bringing you best content. And obviously, you're going to be going through the Wilder and Fury sort of discussion, the interview, press conference at the moment. So, you know, definitely tune into that as well, man. Absolutely, guys, man. No, I appreciate that. Make sure you guys tune in, subscribe. Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage. He's got a lot of content that is really great on Instagram, on YouTube. He's also a bit of a gambling man. So if you want a bit of tips, then yeah, give him a follow and see what his thoughts are. I've got also big up Isaac Dogbay Neho, my Ghanaian brother. He's fighting this weekend over in Las Vegas, and that's on the Inoue card. Who's he fighting, by the way? He's taking on a prospect called Adam Lopez. So I'm going to be real. Top Rank try and do that. They've done that with Dogbay in the past. They kind of give him a fight maybe that he's not supposed to win on paper, but he comes out and surprises them. So Dogbay, obviously he has the loss to Navarrete, but Navarrete stopped everybody in his track. Like that guy's a phenomenal fighter. And Dogbay stopped in there twice. So you know, give him his full props. Really looking forward to that. Also got to big up my guy, John Harding Jr. Petster. He's got a new mixtape out, Boxing with Bars. Go and check that out, people. Go and follow him on Instagram. The guy raps, he fights. I mean, who knows what's next, man? He's been on the platform a few times, so always got to support the local guys. But yeah, people, as we said, unfortunately, this card, Lopez versus Kambosos Jr., has been postponed this weekend. It's now being moved to August, supposedly, and that is due to Lopez testing positive for COVID-19. So COVID, whilst we felt like we had a good run, it strikes again. And just that reminder that fights can be postponed and called off because of COVID tests. But yeah, no, Zane, thank you very much for coming on the show today. Like I said, people, Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage. Please subscribe to his channel, and also don't forget, hit the subscription button, subscribe button for Raps on TV. Turn on that notification as well. We need more people in the chat. We need to build this community. Looking forward to doing a lot more work in the coming weeks because it seems like the boxing's back. But again, Rob, thank you very much for joining me today. Oh, thank you, Rob, for having me on. Instagram before we go. Oh, yeah, my Instagram, Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage on Instagram. Yeah, thank you, Kojo, for having me on as well, man, because Raps on TV, I really like your stuff, man. No, I appreciate that, bro. So listen, people, we're back. So we're out, and we should be back for the presser. Peace.
Peace.